What's up, guys? Monster Motivator TV coming to you live, real and raw, right from our studios in Marietta. And our guest today went from a, computer network engineer. He needs to help me with that. Computer network engineer to a stay-at-home dad, and within 2 years, he's making me feel really bad. I just launched my first book, and I thought that meant something. 29 books in less than 2 years. He's written and published. Is that correct? 29 books. I mean, I thought my one was good. I mean, I am so far behind. And they're all children's books.
Yes, for the most part. I also feature art and music books.
Okay, so it's
all the books combined benefit the kids.
That's what it is. Okay, so 29 books written and published within 2 years, and we're going to share his journey. He's going to share his journey, how he went from the working world, corporate world, into being a stay-at-home dad, raising his kids, and then writing these books and setting himself up, really living his passion, living his dream. And that's what I'm excited about, because it's not always one way. It's actually never one way. You got to figure out what your journey is, have the courage to move forward in it, and as we talk about, this is a perfect example of the darkness is only temporary as long as you keep moving. Only time it stays permanent is when you go back into safety. So I want Brad to be able to share all this great information, because it's real, it's raw, and it comes from this real wisdom, because that's what he's done. So enough of me. Bradley Zink, Brad Zink, whichever way you want to call him, he doesn't care. Introduce yourself and let us know where you're from.
Again, my name is Brad Zink. I'm a children's book author. I lived in San Marcos, California, originally born in the little town of Petaluma, about an hour north of San Francisco.
Okay, so NorCal guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see, I'm 43 years old.
Okay.
Was like Dave was telling y'all, I originally started out working in corporate America for 15 years, doing the rat race, doing network engineer support for companies like eBay, FedEx Kinko's corporate office, Upper Deck Corporation.
Okay.
About 2 weeks before my wife and I got pregnant, I got laid off. It's about 10 years ago, that whole huge layoff, across the board for tech.
Yeah.
So I decided to stay home for 9 months while she was developing our baby, and went to every doctor's appointment with her. Was by her side night and day, feeding her, taking care of her. Had that little baby. We decided I'm going to be a stay-at-home.
So I'm assuming, growing up, where you grew up, it was the kind of conditioning, you go to school, you go to college, or maybe you didn't go to college, and then you get into that workforce. Is that pretty accurate?
I actually got a bachelor's degree in telecommunication management. So
Yeah.
That's how I got into network engineering.
So would that be pretty accurate? You had the traditional conditioning?
Just like everybody,
Okay.
the mom was at home. My mom was a nurse and worked evenings, so I had mom in the daytime, dad in the evenings. So it's shifts.
That's right.
When I did the stay-at-home thing, though, my wife, she teaches for Hewlett Packard, so she travels all over the world teaching network engineers like myself how to use software.
Okay.
So the first 3 years, I was by myself with this little baby.
Wow, because she was traveling.
Because she was traveling.
Wow.
And talking about a change of pace, it was the hardest job, but the most rewarding job I've had.
Oh, listen, it is by far the hardest job. When you told me what you did, I mean, I couldn't even imagine. I would not even be close to being able to handle that job. I mean, I just wouldn't be able to do it. But, growing up, did you have what you consider a normal childhood?
Absolutely. My dad was, very active with he was the one who got me to read at Dr. Seuss, like he taught everybody to read.
Right.
Was my coach on my soccer team growing up as a kid, just like I am with my child now. Baseball. He got me into golf when I was 6 years old.
All right.
I've been playing golf for 40 years now as the captain of the varsity golf team in high school.
Wow. What's your handicap?
I was a 3 handicap.
Were you?
Yes, sir.
Man, that's
literally
legit.
I was 6 years old was the first time I picked up a golf club. He hacked off a couple of his old clubs and sized them down for me, and we just got out there.
That's legit. 3 handicap is is legit. We're not betting anytime soon.
Well, if you're passionate about something, you
Yes.
work hard and
Yes.
you achieve to be the best.
But it is a humbling sport, man.
It is.
It's
But it only takes that one good shot to make you come back every single
It
time.
does. It hooks you. It hooks you. So, you had a normal childhood. How'd you do in school? Did you like school?
I was a straight A student in school.
Really?
I love school. Math, science, especially psychology,
Really?
which helps when you
Yeah.
have a little one at home.
Yeah.
But no, I love school, love to read and
Yeah.
to learn and expand my knowledge base on every subject.
How much did you dive into the psychology? I'm curious.
I did a couple years in college. I just did it just because it was fun. It was a very intriguing subject. It's nothing that I get into, professionally. I liked computers. I liked working with computers. That's why I did it for 15 years. But psych was one of those subjects that it'll help you out in the future.
In the real world.
In the real world, right? When you
Yes.
grow up, as
Yes.
they say.
Yes.
Although some of us never grow up.
Right.
But no, I was intrigued by it, so I took a couple years of it.
Yeah. But you were more the tech guy.
Oh, no, I was 12 when I got my first computer, a little Tandy computer, that Radio Shack used to make.
But what's interesting to me, right, is what's interesting to me, and I want to find out more about this because you are that tech guy, right? You are that behind the scenes, kind of what I call numbers cruncher type guy. But you also obviously have a huge creative side of you, and that's rare to have that.
Both left and right brain.
I mean, real, at that level, right? At that level, because I'm way more EQ than I am IQ. I'm way more creative, more of this is my oxygen, than the behind the scenes guy. For me to sit in my office more than an hour is a torture for me because I have to be out, and I love the motion therapy. So interesting. Do you realize that about yourself, first of all?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Some people trust me, the people that are left and right brain, it's a constant battle. The business side of me, is always telling me, why are you done it 100%?
Be careful, be careful, be careful.
Be careful, and that's that fear voice.
Right.
Is actually that business side, the sensible voice,
right.
At times.
Yes.
But it can also prevent you from doing what you want to do, what you want to achieve.
Absolutely.
And it takes that creative side to help you do that leap.
And I'm glad you went there. You know what else it does, right? What did you call that side? The sensible side, right? The sensible side not only could stop you from moving forward, but the reason that is because timing is everything, right? So if you hesitate when you're not supposed to hesitate, that bus already left, right? So then that creative side is going, what happened? We had this opportunity. So it's interesting how level they are because it's so rare to find that in some way. So it must be a constant push-pull.
Oh yeah. I don't sleep. I sleep. I literally sleep maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. Like 4 a.m. my body turns off, shuts down, just like you turn off your phone or your computer.
Oh, you go to sleep
6
at 4 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Well, I usually work evenings, so I can do my school stuff during the day.
And you're raising your son.
And then I raise my son, and then, when everyone goes to bed, I go to work, and then, get home, everyone's getting up, so.
Wow.
We got that little window of 2-3 hours.
And you're full of energy, man. I mean, you are.
You have to be. Especially when you have an active 7-year-old at home. If you literally nap for a second, they're gone.
Right.
So
you
gotta just have to keep on going.
Wow, 4 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 4:30 to get to the gym. So
well, when I was going to college, I did evening and weekends. So I would work, the 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then go to school from 7 to 10. Get home at midnight, do homework till 4 in the morning, sleep for a couple hours, get back to work.
So you were used to that.
After
schedule,
5-6 years of that, and then working in the tech industry like at eBay, we'd do 60, 70-hour weeks.
Yeah.
You do 6-7 days a week, every week.
Yeah.
I did that for 15 years, and you get burnt out.
Yeah.
But you also get conditioned,
right.
To keep that schedule, I guess. And that's another struggle, is trying to uncondition your body that you've been programmed to.
Yes.
Yes. You've been programmed to always be cautious, but caution can also prevent you from achieving.
Oh, absolutely. Most of the time it does. Because it's timing, right? Life is so much timing, and knowing who you are, and then knowing when that time is, and ultimately knowing that there is no perfect time. It's a myth. You just have to go with it. And I always say you have to learn to listen to that inner GPS, right? When you listen to that gut feeling, it never steers you wrong. But every time you don't, you kick yourself going, why didn't I? Even if it didn't make sense at the time, right?
And most of it doesn't, when you first think of it,
Yeah.
you know, they call it, you know, a pipe dream or crazy ideas.
Yeah.
But, you know, don't let that, you know, idea of, oh, that's just a crazy idea. Don't let that prevent you from exploring and taking, you know, and achieving something with it. You know, I started out these books, believe it or not, I donate my time to my son's school.
Okay.
In kindergarten, I did 150 hours of reading development with this class. Last year for first grade, over 100 hours of reading development.
And this is all volunteer?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
It's, you know, it's one of those opportunities you never get to see your kid in school.
Yeah.
You ask them when they get home, what'd you do at school? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be one of those proactive parents that I'm not only helping my child in this class, but all of his students as well.
Wow.
And then I also get to see what they're doing.
Yeah, totally.
And you know, and it inspires them when you bring someone from outside the classroom, no matter how many of it's 6 kids, 30 kids, they are so attentive because it's something special to have someone at an outsider.
It's new, it's fresh.
And you know, day after day of going in, you know, they really take to you quickly.
Yeah.
And you know, and just, you know, that's why I do volunteer. Like, you say volunteer, almost kind of, you know, like, oh, that means free. Most people think of, but you're thinking of it from a perspective of the dollar.
Right.
And that's just one little minute thing of the great picture. It's what you can get from, you know, these kids teach me.
Well,
and I learn as much from them as they learn from me.
And you know what? I was just going to go there because I can feel your energy. I can see it in your eyes that it's a win-win. Oh, right? Absolutely. It's an absolute win-win for you. It becomes your oxygen, right? It becomes
it's your, you know, your drug, your adrenaline, your passion, your fuel, whatever you want to call it.
That's your oxygen. That's your oxygen, and that's awesome that you've been able to identify that. And I love that you know yourself enough that you have both of those EQ, IQ pulling at each other at that same level because it's so unique. It's actually pretty cool. So I want to know, and I'm sure a lot of people out there want to know. So you went from the corporate world, you went from that IQ world, right, to a stay-at-home dad. How was that shift? I mean, seriously, in the beginning, what was it like?
A nightmare.
In what way? In what way?
You know, there's, you know, pointing out books, there's thousands of books that tell you how to raise a kid, but not one of them is there for you. You know, it's like, I'll pay the $20 for the book. Does it come with someone to change that diaper?
Exactly.
Trust me, you know, when they do it in the hospital and you're watching it, oh yeah, that first day that we brought him home and it's like he's crying and we know, oh, he's got to change it. We look at each other like, what do we do? Yeah. So now with my wife traveling those first 3 years, you know, what do you do? Yeah. You know, I always look to my wife for the answer of, oh, he's crying, and, you know, is he hungry? Does he need to do, you know, a diaper change? You have no idea. You have to learn quickly. You have to learn to adapt.
Let me ask you this. Also, because of the DNA of a man, it's just not as natural as a woman.
Men are born without a patience gene.
Oh man, we're gonna knuckle that up. I think I am way back in the line of that patience gene. I don't know what happened, but they bypassed me. They said you have zero patience.
But children teach you that.
Yeah,
you have to learn that quick.
Yeah.
And trust me, you know, a kid breaks something, your first instincts get upset, but then you know you realize that's your child.
No, it's life.
You know, and it's just like that in every approach to how you approach, you know, raising a child.
So what struggles did you go through besides like the actual physical stuff of learning how to use a diaper, like intellectually, like how did you keep yourself occupied? Because after a while did you feel numb? Because you're a guy on the go, you're a sharp guy.
No, actually what I felt was first panic. Because you have all these like things going on,
and responsibilities,
right. You know, you want to be
the ultimate responsibility.
Live the childhood forever. Now, hey, it's stepped on you. You have to do it for real. Focus is the number one thing.
Okay.
No matter what, you know, fear will help you, you know, take you away and pull you from things. After screaming for hours, you know, a lot of people would just walk out of the room. You can't do that. Yeah. You know. When you look into those eyes and you see it's your child, it's part of you, it starts to come naturally. It really does. And the more time that you spend with your child, the more of a connection you build with them. And then you start to think, what would entertain this child? Right. How can I keep them entertained? How can I keep them busy? How can I,
so then that keeps your edge. That keeps
me creative.
Right? That helps
that helps not have that numbness, right?
Absolutely.
That we need that, and I can tell you need that 10x, right? Because that's who you are. So that's really interesting to me because it's such a different world, you know, of where I would be. Like it's just a different. I can't even comprehend that I would be able to do that. So that's really interesting. I like that. And then how was it for your wife once you guys made that decision, and now you have that transition where she's out in the work world full time, you're at home. Was there any obstacles or things that you had to address in your relationship?
I think the hardest was her having to leave the child.
Okay.
She would travel anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks at a time, and just, he's 3 weeks old. Just, 4 weeks. I think she was like about 3 or 4 weeks old when she went on the road.
Right away, huh?
Oh, right away.
Wow.
So my wife's a trooper. She's the one that keeps me going. And, that's that fork, in the back to keep me going. So I think it was the her not being able to be there during his, when he's crawling, when he's, starting to go through the mimicking word phase,
Right.
Which I think built us closer together because I think we communicated a lot better and a lot more because now we had something to talk about.
Okay.
What did you do today? How is it progressing? And it started to bring my wife and I closer. And I think brought our marriage even stronger.
There you go. Then you figured it out. Let's see. I know we had a few people jump on. Marion, I saw a few people jump on. Do you have any names handy?
Yeah, I have Natasha Zink.
That's my wife.
Hey, Natasha. Thank you for jumping on. Brad's here giving us your whole life story, telling us exactly what's going on behind the black curtain. So thank you for jumping on. Anybody else?
Travis Malone, he is a new fan from the Northwest.
Okay.
And he said, could barely hear you guys and now better now.
Oh, good. We have the microphone. Actually, the first time we actually have the microphone, so hopefully it's working. I know you guys aren't having much trouble hearing me, but we'll get it closer for Brad. Anybody? And thank you so much for taking the time and jumping on. We got a lot to share with you still. Anybody else, Marion?
No, not now.
Okay, good. So now you're finally figuring out where you're at in this, right? And you and your wife are figuring all this out, right, as you go, like anything else in life. How did the books come about? How did this start manifesting?
Well, about 2 years old, my son was able to recognize all the letters and numbers. We had a little foam mat on the ground with all the letters and numbers, and you'd say 3. He'd go and run and point to the 3. So that was the beginning development of the reading. By the age of 4, he was already reading Dr. Seuss by himself. Every night I would read to him 2-3 books. It's that special thing. Books, not only do you get knowledge from them, but it brings people closer together. It's more personal than if you read something on a computer screen.
It's a bonding thing,
So when he started kindergarten, he was reading 3, 4, 5 books a day. In kindergarten, he read 500 books. In first grade, he read over 1,000 books.
Really?
I was running out of books for him. I have a personal collection of over 1,000 children's books that I've collected over my lifetime.
Were they were all children's books?
Yes. I've got a personal library of almost 7,000 books now, man.
Wow.
I've been collecting since I was a little kid. I kept all my books as a kid.
And at that age, was he comprehending?
Absolutely. Oh, Dr. Seuss is a genius in not only teaching kids how to pronounce things, but also start to he illustrated so well with his pictures that the kids could put the words and the pictures together, so that they could start to comprehend.
So even when it's not a Dr. Seuss book, because that foundation was built, so now he could actually comprehend, and then I guess you could tell, because after he would get done a book, I'm sure you would talk to him.
Oh no, yeah, we would sit there. I'd give him quizzes,
really?
Like what did Sally do in this book, or what happened to the dog in this.
So
book.
you know that he
to make sure that he's also listening and paying attention too.
Wow, so he passed.
Oh no, he's a sharp little kid.
Okay.
So I ran out of children's books for him to read. So I started just taking literally just pieces of paper and writing little stories and making little pictures and stuff and doing little flip books. When he started kindergarten, he took a couple of them to show and tell, and the kids loved them. And the teacher told me, Brad, you should start making your own children's books. These are amazing. And I never thought about it before. This is just something fun to do with my child. And I was amazed that other kids liked them too. So I started doing research online and found a company, CreateSpace, which is owned by
Yes,
Amazon,
yep.
where you can do free self-publishing online.
Mhm.
If you know how to use Word, they do all the work for you practically. It takes me about 2 to 3 hours to do each of my books.
Okay.
They range anywhere in size from 30 to 148 pages. I did my first book, children's book. I love taking my child to the wild animals park in the zoo. He literally grew up there. Oh yes. So I photographed the animals there because they're just gorgeous collection of animals. A lot of these animals kids don't see on a daily basis. A lot of schools don't have the money to do field trips.
Right.
So in keeping with the Dr. Seuss theme, I took their name and rhymed it with a loving sentiment like love a dove.
Okay.
You know, let's be swell with the gazelle, take time to watch a rhino dine. You know, simple phrases that kids in the kindergarten, first grade level could read. The pictures are you know, brilliant colors, so it'll stand out and draw the child's attention.
Oh, absolutely, and they look so real.
And I took the book into his class. You know, like I said, it took me a couple hours to put together, printed them up, took it in his class. The kids loved it.
Wow.
So I grew up gardening as a child. And I do gardening with my child. That's how I actually, you know, you said, what do you do when a 3-week-old is screaming? I would take him out in the yard in his little bouncy chair, and I started making a garden for us.
Okay.
So now that he's old enough, now we garden every year.
Okay.
So I put together the idea of teach all the kids how does gardening work. So I came up with the idea of it starts with a seed, which teaches kids how fruits and vegetables go from seed to harvest.
Okay.
Taking pictures of, you know, of the different stages of the growth, and explaining the different process to them, and then showing them how simple it is to do it at home.
Right.
And then, this is the book that I go into the schools and do free readings of.
Wow.
Last year I read this book to over 19,000 children.
Wow.
After we finish reading the book, then we plant sunflower seeds so the kids can take them home and grow their own sunflower seeds, so they can watch at home how a plant grows from seed all the way to, you know, the flower and the harvest of the seeds.
Wow.
So very few schools have the money to be able to do field trips. So with my books, I try to make them not only entertaining and educational, but like bringing the field trip to the school.
All right. I like that. I like that angle, right? And that obviously works for you because you get a lot from this. I can tell.
Oh, it's to go into a classroom, and you know, I've had groups literally as little as 150 students at one time. I've read up to 1,000 kids in one day.
Okay.
It never gets old. It never gets boring. It's like, you know, doing your show.
Yeah.
You get that just passion, that addiction of just that fire burning in you. Time just flies by. You don't realize, oh my gosh, I've been here for 8 hours at the school and did all the classes. But what I walk away from it is seeing those kids smiling, carrying that sunflower seed home, running into them the next year, going, Mr. Zink, oh, my sunflower, you know, it grew like this, or oh, my dog ate my sunflower.
Right.
You know,
That would have been me.
little stories like that. They remember that, and that means
would-
that I must have reached them enough to inspire them to even remember something like that. And when you reach kids at a young age and inspire them at a young age, who knows what it'll turn into when they get older.
Yeah, and it's just it's fresh, it's something new than the regular classroom environment. And that's what I hated in school, right? I hated that. I wanted to be outside playing sports, doing things that were physical. That was and I needed that because that every day in that classroom, you know, my DNA just drove me crazy, and I drove my teachers crazy. So it was kind of a win-win if you look at it that way. So you're 29 books in. But you also do more than kids' books, right?
Yes. One of the things that I learned from the kids going into reading to them is, you know, everyone hears kids, but they don't listen to them. You know, we all know kids love to talk.
Yeah.
But how many of us actually listen to what they're saying?
Right.
So I started listening to what they had to say. What do you guys like? What do you enjoy? They love art and music, the first two programs that all schools cut when it's a budget cut.
And that's what the kids, the first
You
two
know,
things?
every school has math, English, science.
Yeah.
And they used to have music and art.
Right.
But, you know, with budget cuts, those are the first programs that go. So when I heard that the kids love their art class, they love their music class, it inspires them.
Right.
I decided to start reaching out to local musicians, local artists. In the last year and a half, I've featured over 200 local bands and musicians in my books and over a dozen local artists featuring their work. I do this all for free for all the musicians and the bands. I publish all these books for them for free.
Wow.
It helps them get publicized to the masses, you know.
But when you say
who
for
they are.
free, it still costs money to do these. So
On my part.
Oh, so it's out of your pocket?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
No,
Okay.
you know, I approach a band or a musician or an artist and
Okay.
ask them if they would like a book done of their work.
Okay.
I'll publish it for them. I'll even, you know, go out to their events, print up the copies, give it to them so they can sell them, give them out. So
Wow.
it helps people identify with who they are and what they do.
Wow.
And in return, all the proceeds from my online book sales, I donate 100% right back to the San Diego County School System.
Wow.
To keep things like music and arts, the subjects that inspire kids to stay in school.
Right, right. So everything goes right back to the school
Absolutely.
system.
They say growing up, invest in your future, invest in your future.
Right.
You and me, we have 20, 30, 40 years on this world if we're lucky.
Right.
My son, 70, 80 years. His son,
Yeah.
70, 80 years.
Yeah.
So if you're going to invest in the future, invest in the children. They're our
Oh,
future.
listen,
And
yeah,
what better way to invest than in the school so they get a proper education?
Oh, listen, it's an amazing thing that you're doing. I mean, it really is. And it's interesting, again, how you're wired. It actually gives you back. I'll tell you what, everything I feel from this guy, he's getting back as much as he's giving, actually, if not more.
I think more. I mean, really, it's giving me a
So
purpose.
what?
I mean, come on. I was a network engineer for 15 years.
Right.
I was miserable, but it was a job. I
Right.
did it. I
Right.
enjoyed my job. But it
But
was
it
a
wasn't.
job.
Right.
It was a job.
Right, right.
This is a passion. And when it's a passion, it's not work.
It's,
You know, you say, oh, why do you only sleep 2 hours? I'm surprised I can sleep that much. I mean, you can feel the energy come off me. The things that, you know, all these thoughts of, oh, this book, you know, I drive down the street, I come up with the idea of, wow, look at that car. My son loves Hot Wheels.
right.
And that's how I came up with, you know, my latest book, you know, it starts with the key, which teaches kids the history of cars, how they work, and then features, you know, 30 gorgeous cars, you know, to get both
Yeah.
the parents and the kids interested in
Well,
cars.
see,
Bicycle,
what you're
international.
doing is really living, the definition, what I consider the definition of happiness and success, right? Definition of success is living life on your terms, which you're doing. And the definition of happiness is fulfillment, and that's what you have. So you're actually living both every day. So you win. You win
That's
hands
That's
down.
why money doesn't
You
matter.
win
That's why I
hands down.
donate it back to
No,
the schools,
I mean,
because, you know, money's not going to make you happy.
but-
You know, it'll get the things
But
that
let's
you need.
drive that home, right? See, he's winning on every level because he has both of those in his grasp. He has success because he's living life on his terms. He has happiness because he's fulfilled every single day. That's why he's sleeping 15 minutes a day. It's unbelievable. This guy's got more energy. He's making me look like I stand still, and that's hard to do. I love the energy. How does it feel? What made you go into the band end of things? Like just because of the kids said that they
The kids
they
say
wanted-
that
they
they
like
you know,
those
they
too.
like the music and everything.
Okay.
And we have some of the most incredible, not only just local bands in
Right.
San Diego, but some incredible Hall of Famers, Rock and Roll Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
I live right here in San Diego. Greg Douglas, who is going to be performing at my son's elementary school.
And
this
he'll be on
Friday. He's
Monster
gonna be on
Motivator
tomorrow.
TV tomorrow.
The original guitarist for the Steve Miller Band and Van Morrison. Incredible person. If I may, Anthony Collins, 15-year-old guitar
Oh,
prodigy
you were telling me.
Fallbrook kid. You
You
got to
were-
get him on your
He's
show.
in Fallbrook. That's where I
Oh,
live.
He's just right down the street. He's been playing since he was 10 years old.
Right.
One of the most gifted guitarists I've ever seen, if not the best guitarist I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
He plays Clapton better than Clapton.
Wow.
No, YouTube Anthony Collins or the Fallbrook kid, you will
I
see
got you.
exactly what I mean.
I got you.
He performed at my son's elementary school carnival last year.
Okay.
This year it's going to be, Anthony's going to perform with Greg a few songs.
Now,
Something-
looks like we have some people jump on with some comments.
Yes, Travis Milan has another question for Brad, actually.
Sure.
Have you ever had the opportunity to work with children with disabilities, autism, etc.? And if so, how was that experience?
Yes, I have. That's a great question. Working with a bunch of artists, my little boy, got me inspired. So we actually went to Michael's one day, bought a whole bunch of canvases and paints, and started painting our own. It got me to the point of not only publishing a couple books of my own artwork, which is but I done painting exercises at Aztec Brewery with autistic children. I used to do farmers markets all last year, doing like rock painting for free with the kids, which was just as fun as doing the seed planting demos. Oh my gosh, seeing kids with paints.
Right.
And it's not at my house, so it didn't matter about the mess, so it was fun. But no, I usually, I do work with all charity groups, but predominantly with children, especially the education system, pediatric cancer patients.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people don't realize this, but cancer research, all the money, only 4% goes to pediatric cancer research.
See,
only 4%.
So what do you do with that organization, like, or what do you do with that part? Because that's
I'll go to their events, and I'll sell my books, and then I donate 100% of the proceeds from the book sales right to the charity that I'm working
and I'll tell you what, and I mean this, and that's why I'm putting it out here. You have those connections. If they ever want somebody to come in and talk to the kids, feel free to give my information, man, because now you want to talk about getting your juices flowing. That gets my juices flowing, and I'll tell you why. Because I hear all the time about people how bad they think they have it, and I always say, get outside your bubble, right? And when they look at you like they don't know what you mean, here's what I tell them. I said, I'll give you an example. Go to a children's hospital when a 12-year-old little girl is fighting for cancer for her life. She's the rock of her family, right? And her parents are trying to figure out how not to crumble. So go look at that. Go talk to that little girl, and then look yourself in the mirror and see how bad your stuff is, right? See how bad your issues are. That's the real. So I would love, next time you're around, then let them know. I would love, get my information out. I would love to come and see the kids, talk to them, and give a little monster motivation there, and it would give back so much to me. I would love to do that. So I'm glad. Great question, man. Great question, Travis. We have another question, Marion.
Yeah, we have Natasha Zink. She has a comment. Brad was part of the San Diego STEM 52 weeks in Narrow Logan.
Oh,
and
Narrow Logan, yeah.
Taking classes with Autism Awareness Group.
So talk about that.
Yeah, I work with the Ribbon H Fleet Science Center. They started last October the 52 Weeks of Science program, where they were bringing a different type of science or engineering or STEM-related class to the children's students in Barrio Logan. Usually performed at the Barrio Logan Library there. To bring science to the barrio.
And there was a second thing. There was a second thing that he did that Natasha brought up. Marion?
Pardon?
Was there a second?
That Brad did painting classes with the Autism Awareness.
Oh, that's it. Yep, autism awareness. So how was that?
Just paint. It's one thing to get a child to paint, but wow, to have autistic children who are usually very in their own world. To be nervous at first and not wanting to touch the brush, and then to actually see them
you can
start to literally normalize, if
open
that's
up.
the word that you
Open
want to do.
up.
But to be to be like everybody else. And by the end of the class, when they give you a hug, which is way out of their norm, that was worth every moment of my life right there. That did it for me right there.
That's legit. I mean, that's awesome. So you get they actually come out, right? They become way less cautious.
Yes, and music and art do that. Not just for autistic children, but all children.
Right.
It's one of those things that helps, the universe is all music tunes. So it helps them, become, like you and me.
Yeah.
And it's just an overwhelming joy to see them
that transition
like that.
That transition. And within one sitting.
Oh,
that's what's so powerful.
Absolutely. And that's why I like the artists that I chose in my books do the same thing. They go and they work with autistic children or children or even adults with PTSD and things of that nature. Like, military. There's 22 suicides a day for our veterans.
Yeah.
I actually teach a class at the Veterans Museum down in Balboa, teaching active and retired military people how they can self-publish for free online.
Oh, wow. So how many times you do that? Is it?
I've done 3 classes and it's great. We usually get about 10 to 15 people out there. And the first thing is they see all these books and they go, wow, it's like overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then when you actually sit down, I can teach you how to do these in 2 hours. Sure. And that's why I wrote a book about it to teach others that it's really that easy to do your book. Everyone says, business card. No. A book about yourself is the best business card you can have. It not only explains to the world, like your book, who you are and what you stand for, but it's everlasting. Yeah. Business cards go in a pocket, in a drawer. You can't tuck that in your pocket, you know.
Yeah,
so,
no,
and people,
it's-
that stands out. You put it on a shelf, people see that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I got a lot from doing my book. Everything was up here, and then I just, the way I did my book is my publisher, I'd rather have root canal done than sit down and write. So I used the audio, everything was up here, and I did each chapter and just spoke on it, and then sent it to her, and then she wrote it up and in my flavor. So for me, it was awesome. I had a great time doing it, and we knocked out that book within a month and a half.
And that feeling of achievement afterwards.
It's pretty cool. It's actually really cool. When you get, first time I had it in my hand was episode number 50.
Oh,
Literally, the first time I had it in my hand, it was really cool. I mean, you're talking about a kid that left back in second grade, diagnosed with ADD, said it had a learning disorder, never graduated high school. You know, so it's a really cool feeling. And that being said, remember, and these kids understand this, and hopefully they understand this, that the start is not nearly as important as the finish.
That's right.
It's not nearly as important as the finish.
And finishing.
Yes.
Or just finishing
Following
in
through.
general, you know, follow through.
Following
You
through,
know,
absolutely.
keep them interested in school instead of, you know, dropping out. You know, what is the dropout rate? Something like 18, 20, 30% in the US? It's horrible.
100%.
That's why we're 17, country in the world in education. Well, if you keep on taking the things that kids like to go to school, you know, you keep on dropping those programs, then how are you going to keep them educated? How are you going to keep them in school?
You got to, and you get lost in the system because, you know, as an entrepreneurial DNA, most entrepreneurs did horrible in school because we're not wired that way. The structure, right, suffocates us.
Absolutely.
We need that creativity. We need to breathe. We need to get out there and figure it out on our own. And falling down is just part of our world. It's just part of our world, you know. And not everyone gets it, but that's okay. That's what makes the world go round. But identifying who you are, your level of awareness is vital for anything you want to do in life. It's vital. It's everything. So I love that you're expanding on this, and then obviously you also do artists.
Artists, yes.
Okay. So you look for artists, or they find you.
I took my son last year alone to over 100 art shows, and he saw probably 150 bands last year.
So what is
that also helped him develop. Not only, writing books about music and art, but taking them to, exposing them to those different cultures, those different scenes. I think that's why my son is as good in school as he is today, because of that extracurricular stuff.
So I'm interested. What does your son love to do?
Well, it's everything.
And that actually would have been my answer, right? Because he's exposed to everything.
He loves to read. He plays soccer. We're in our second year that I'm his head coach in our soccer team. 3-0 Titans.
You got a golf club in his hand yet?
We do live on a golf course, and we do sneak on.
Okay, we lost it for a second. We came back on. So, did you want to talk about that?
I didn't even understand, to be honest, what she said.
Okay, say that again, Marion, because we lost it for a second.
Okay, Natasha Zink said all sales from all books donated to San Diego Unified School District,
yes.
and then she said Legos.
Legos. Oh, yeah.
What's
That's
Legos?
what you said. What does my son like? And Legos.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So again, he's creative. He likes to build.
Oh my gosh.
He-
I thought it was worse enough when he was going, with all the Hot Wheels around.
Yeah.
Those Legos at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're stumbling across the dark room.
Yeah, that's not
Anyway,
fun.
so I try to keep him as active as possible. The more you spend time with your child, listen to your child, read a book with them. It only takes 15 minutes a night. That's one of the things that helps children develop is, that bedtime process of, make it a routine. You always want the kid to brush their teeth. You want them to, put their pajamas up. Read a book to them. Have them read a book. You'll be amazed at how it not only makes them thirsty to read more books, but how quickly they'll develop, not just mentally, but, emotionally with other children. Be able to relate to people in the real world.
You know what would be a great, not that you're not doing enough now, I'm throwing more on your plate, right? But I know you can handle it, I got a lot of faith in you, is a market for you would be the stay-at-home kid, the kids homeschool.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, the parents, because you could do a whole workshop just on that, right? Because again, I never even grown up where I grew up, and when I grew up, I mean, homeschool wasn't even, we never even heard of that, right? I mean, skipping school is what I heard of, not homeschool.
But you got an education that way too. And it helps shape you
yes.
who you are.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Listen, I got an education, that's right. And actually it did mold me to who I am today. And I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't want it any other way, but it was a lot of fun. That would be a great, you could bring a lot of value to those homeschool parents, right? Because at the end of the day, again, there's no course, right? There's
that core
there's a
that they
course,
have to do,
but there's nobody that comes and says, listen, this is this, and this. So that would be a great thing if we could fit it in. Listen, I need you to stop sleeping so much. We got to cut that down. We have a lot of things for you to do. Is there anything that I didn't touch on that you want to
just
talk
a
about?
couple of quick, like I said, I do a lot of charity work.
Yeah.
I'm the VP of fundraising on my son's elementary school,
Okay.
Twin Oaks Elementary in San Marcos.
Okay.
Every year we have a back to school carnival. It features 10 to 12 full-size carnival rides, carnival games, food for purchase, live entertainment. This year it's going to be Friday, September 30th at Twin Oaks Elementary in San Marcos. We're going to have live art by Davina Mendoza, incredible artist friend of mine, who live music by Greg Douglas, the original guitarist for the Steve Miller Band. He'll be performing live for free from 6 to 9 p.m. That's this Friday, September 30th.
Okay.
One other event that I am part of, I'm also an active member of the Oceanside Moose Lodge.
Okay.
As if I didn't do enough.
Right.
Every month we have a different charity event. This month we have Saturday, October 1st from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. We're going to have a couple of live bands and live art.
And this is the Moose Lodge?
The Moose Lodge in Oceanside, California. Saturday, October 1st, 7 to 1 a.m. Johnny Deadly Trio, Rockabilly Band. You love them. Three-piece incredible band. They're going to be performing, I think, at 10 p.m.
Okay. And just real quick, so in case people are concerned about missing all this information, when we reshare this, Brad's going to go on, thank everyone, and then reconnect with everyone, and then he'll share all this information again.
Absolutely.
Just so, in case they're driving or whatever.
Yeah. And also you can just literally Google author Bradley Zink and
you can give that link.
Find all of my
Just
information.
post that link for him. Yeah, perfect. And there's anything else?
I think that's it for my events for the next couple weeks anyway.
Okay, good. So everything that you've learned over these last 7 years, if somebody said, how do I do it? I'm having a kid coming. My child's gonna be born in a few weeks. What do I do? How do I prepare myself?
There is no answer.
That's
for
it.
how to prepare.
It's so real. Thank you.
Really, there is no
Thank you.
answer.
That's right.
But trust me, the love that you'll feel for your child will help guide you.
Yeah.
Don't let fear, don't let frustration, don't let them psych you out. I mean, come on, they're little. Don't be afraid of them. We're always afraid to hold them, we'll break them. They'll bounce back. Really, my little guy, he's taken tumbles off the couch in the bed, and he's already 7 years strong. Thank God.
Right.
They're tough. You just got to be tougher, and you got to raise them right. You got to. Reading is very important. Education is very important. But the most important thing is the time. That's the most
quality
precious
of time, right?
commodity
Right.
that anybody has in life. It isn't money. It's the time and how you invest that time.
I love that because that's the real. And again, you're living the life that everyone wants to live because you're hitting both every single day. The happiness and the fulfillment, living life on your terms, which is success. I mean, that's it. This is living color that it doesn't matter. See, it doesn't matter what you do, but it's how you do it. In anything in life, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And I love that you were able to bring this here today. And I love the energy, man. I do. I love the energy. It becomes my oxygen. So I want to thank you for sharing everything.
Thank you.
How can they find you?
You can, like I said, you can just Google author Bradley Zink, Z-I-N-K. You can also email me directly.
You're on Facebook?
Yes, I'm on Facebook under Brad Zink, or you can check out my Facebook page for kids, which is BZ-Inc, I-N-K.
Okay.
You can see all the events that I'm doing.
Okay.
See videos of me doing book readings in the classroom with the kids.
Okay.
You can also email me directly at WMBZ75@yahoo.com. Again, that's WMBZ75@yahoo.com.
And again, guys, if you didn't get this, don't worry about it. Once we reshare, Brad will he'll put all the links, everything you need, interact. If you have any questions, you want to just reach out. If you have anybody that you think could help what he's doing because he's given everything back, 100% back to everything that he does. So if there's a way to help him out, if you know resources, if you know people, help this guy out because, you know, listen, paying it forward, it's like his middle name. I mean, it's unbelievable what he does. So, again, I want to thank you, and also thank you for hooking us up with Greg tomorrow from the Steve Miller Band. I'm so pumped to have that show. Are you going to be here with me?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to
Okay.
drive him up. So.
You're going to drive. Okay, good, perfect. So, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to teach Brad the Monster Motivator Roar and why and what it's all about. So, the Monster Motivator Roar, right? I believe that we can only be in one state at a time. So, if we're in gratitude state, we can't be in victim state. If we're in victim state, we can't be in gratitude state, right? So it's the state that you decide you want to be in, just like you said. Most people are going to say, I can't sleep 2 hours a day because I want to have the energy. You're going to say, you decided to say, you know what? 2 hours is plenty because I have so much to do and I love what I do, right? And look at your energy. So I believe that, so this Monster Motivator Roar puts you in that state. But here's the other thing, is I always say, do you want to live your life? Because this is our one ride, right? We have one ride. And I just turned 50. My ride, thank you, my ride could be over tomorrow, or it could be over 50 years from now, right? Do I want to live my ride? Do I want my ride and live my life purring like a kitten or roaring like a lion? I want to roar like a lion all the way out. So this is what the Monster Motivator Roar is. The sound is just as important as the pose. You ready? All right. On three, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Ah! My man, thanks for bringing it.